What is up, people? Welcome back to Blue Chip Prospect for another video. Today I thought I would do a top 10 defenseman prospect in the NHL, so we can go around the league and take a look at who are the best defensive, but not defensive, but the best defenseman prospect around the league. Alright, so without further ado, let's get this started right away. Alright, so to start this whole thing, at number 10 I have Alexander Nikishin. He was picked 69th overall in 2020 by Carolina Hurricanes. He's a left shot two-way D who stands at 6'4", 216 pounds. He had one of the best, if not the best, under 21 season in the KHL for a defenseman, and he had a major jump between playing for Spartak and playing for SKA this season. He had 55 points in 65 games, which led all defensemen in the KHL, so that's really good. In terms of advanced stats, his primary points percentage is at 61.8%, so that's good. Even strength goals for percentage at 60.2, so that's okay. Primary points per 60 at 1.37. Power play points over even strength points, well, total points mostly, is 24 over 55, and shot percentage is at 9%. When you look at the attribute and the skill set that he has, the production doesn't really match the skill set. If you want, like, don't get me wrong, he has a very good skill set. He has very good size. He's a decent skater. He has a hard shot. He's getting much better at playmaking, but I'm not sure that the skill set really represents the production that he had this season. We'll see when he comes to the NHL, but for now I have some reservation about it. Other than that, defensively is really good. He closed the gaps really quickly. One thing that I don't like about his defense though is that he doesn't really have how do you say that, like an active stick. He doesn't put his stick on people's puck or try to put it in passing lanes. I think he needs to work on that, but he has a pretty physical and in-your-face type of defense. So overall, he has great potential. I think number 10 fits him really well. So yeah, there you have it. To the next one. So one of the problems that I have while making this video is that there's just too many good defensemen to put into a top 10, and that's really on brand for me. Like, every single video that I make have honorable mentions, but this time I felt like they were just too good to be kicked out of the top 10 and put into the honorable mentions. So what I did is I put 3 players at number 10. All right, so it is what it is. So at number 10, again, it's Kevin Korchinski, who was picked by the Blackhawks at 7th overall in 2022. He's a left shot defenseman, mostly an offensive defenseman who stands at 6'3", 185 pounds. So he has plenty of space in that body to fill out. All right, so in terms of points, he had 73 points in 54 games, so a really good draft plus one season. If we look at the advanced stats, his primary points percentage was at 63%, which is really good. Even strength goals for percentage at 72%, which again, it's really good. Primary points per 60 at 2.5, power play points over even strength at 25 over 73, and shot percentage at 7.9%. So overall, all the stats are pretty good. I think anybody who have watched Kevin Korchinski play this season understand that his playmaking from the back end is really his biggest strength. It's really, when you take his skating, his vision, his puck handling, his passing skills, and you put it all together, that's what makes him the really, really good playmaker as a defenseman. He can move along the line to create lanes. He can see every lanes possible. He has the skills to put that puck between legs and between sticks and put the puck into space for other players. He's just a really, really good passer overall. His skating got a lot better this season compared to last season. Not that it was bad, it was like average, probably something like that. Now I would say it's over average. He's a strong skater. Not only is he fast backward and forward, he's also very agile. He can move east-west really, really well for a guy that still stands at 6'3". Other than that, in defense, he got quite better too, but mostly in transition defense, I would say, because he's really good at pushing people along the board. He closed the gaps really well. He can put his stick in the lane, but when players get into the zone, that's where the brain cramps kind of starts a little bit. Not that he's bad, but let's say it's not as good as his transition defense. All right, let's put it that way. So yeah, overall, the potential is really, really good because he's so smart offensively and he's putting his defensive game together. And now when you add the size and the skating that he developed, I think, he could be a really good player. So number 10 for Kevin Korchinski kind of makes sense. And at number 10, for the third time, last but not least, I have David Reinbacher. Now, David Reinbacher was picked 5th overall in 2023, just the last draft. He's a right shot defenseman who plays mostly a two-way games and stands at 6'2", 194 pounds. He had 22 points in 46 games, including 3 goals, and that is the best season ever for the Swiss National League. But I think that we can count on one hand probably the amount of players that the Swiss National League has developed into NHL players. So you can take that with a grain of salt, but nonetheless, 22 points in 46 games is still good. Now, they have probably the most horrible website I've ever seen. So I cannot find for the life of me stats from the past season. Okay, any player that I click on, I can only get the stats from this season, so there's no way I can calculate advanced stats, and I cannot find them anywhere also. So no advanced stats outside of shooting percentage at 3.9%, which is not good. All right, so that's what it is for David Reinbacher. So to me, it's pretty obvious that the best part of Reinbacher is on the defensive part of the game. Not that the offense isn't good. It is. It's a work in progress, and progress there is, I believe. But it's really not as good as the defensive part. For a guy of his age, even though he was one of the oldest players from the draft, he still has such a mature and complete and sound defensive game. It's really, really good. Like, he's really good at first closing the gap. He can play physical, or he can play with distance and just put his stick in the way, or put the stick on the puck to deflect it. He pushes everybody to the outside. He never gives the middle. He plays physical in front of the ice, and he's also really good at taking the puck from the corners or the board and just move it forward. Break out the puck, whether it's skate it out or just pass it out. He's really good at that when there's not too much pressure. I think they're going to need to work on his offensive game quite a lot. There's a lot of work to do, but I think the potential is there. Like, the handling is a problem, but he has the vision and he has the passing skills to execute on some good plays. And even though before the draft, I made a couple of videos about ranking the players or ranking the defensemen, and I keep saying that he doesn't have deceptiveness to his game, or he doesn't create like misdirections with his body, his eyes, his shoulder, and it still holds true. But before making this video, I watched a couple games just to refresh my mind, and I saw a couple times where he actually did some misdirection, where he looked right, pass left, or vice versa, just trying to fool the players in front of him so he can open the lanes to send the puck. He doesn't do it often, like basically almost never, but I saw him do it. So there's potential, because if he knows that he needs to do it, then he knows that he can work on that, and he knows that he can open lanes that way. So yeah, I think it's really good. I didn't see it at all before the draft, and now I watched like 2 random games just like that, and I saw it a couple of times, and I was like, that's what I wanted to see all season, and I didn't see it, so I was happy. But outside of that, yeah, I think the potential is pretty good. I think number 10 really fits him. He's not a high-end type of prospect, but I think his game is so sound defensively, and if you can bring the offense part a bit better, there's a good potential for a first pair type of defenseman. I don't think a first defenseman is really what it's going to be, but a first pair, I think it's in the realm of possibilities. All right. And finally, out of the number 10, at number 9, I have Olen Zellweger, who was picked by the Ducks at 34th overall in 2021. He's a left shot defenseman, mostly offensive defenseman, who stands at 5'9", 5'10", on a good day, and 174 pounds. His draft +2 is just amazing. It's basically the best draft +2 since the 2000 in the WHL, with 80 points in 55 games, including 32 goals. Right, 32 goals. For advanced stats, his primary points percentage is at 70%, which is really good. Even strength goals for percentage at 61.5. Primary points per 60 at 2.6. Power play points over even strength points 34/80, and shot percentage at 9.3%. So where Zellweger shines the most is definitely in the offensive part of the game and in transition. He's really, really good at skating it out because he's an elite skater, and he's also very, very good at passing it out because he's also an elite passer. There's a lot of choice with him. But once he transitioned the puck forward, he goes into the offensive zone and he tries to create from the back end, and when there's no lanes and when there's nothing, he just circles the ice and he goes very low and activate very low in the zone and try to create space and lanes so he can send the puck into the slot every chance that he gets. That's what his game is all about. It's about moving up and down in the zone and creating chaos so he can send the puck in the slot. Obviously, by doing that, he gets caught a lot of time very low in the zone, and that's not that good for his team because he's not there on defense after that. So he has to be paired with a defensive defenseman or it's going to be a problem. But also, I don't think he's going to be able to do that much at the NHL level. And another thing that I don't think he will be able to do that much at the NHL level is shot on net. He shot 345 times on net this season, and that is only 15 shots less than Connor Bedard, who has the most shot of every junior and semi-pro and pro league outside of North America. I don't know if there's a defenseman in the NHL who shot 345 times. I did not check, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. And I think he's not going to be able to shoot as much. And his shot is not necessarily that great, but by shooting that much and shooting for 9%, then he scored 32 goals. So I think there's a world where he's going to score a lot of goals as a defenseman, but I don't think he's going to be able to be so trigger happy in the NHL. But obviously, I think that Zellweger has the chance to be a number one power play type of defenseman who doesn't hurt you at 5v5 and can transition the puck so quick for you that he's going to help the team every time he's on the ice. So I think number 9 is very fitting for him. He's a hell of a player, and yeah, I'm a bit jealous. All right, let's go. And at number 8, I have Pavel Mintyukov. He was picked 10th overall in 2022. He's a left shot two-way defenseman who stands at 6'1", 192 pounds. He had an amazing draft plus 1 season on par with John Carlson or Ryan Ellis with 88 points, 24 goals in 69 games. I actually really debated between him and Zellweger, and I gave the edge to Mintyukov because he's more complete as a player. In terms of advanced stats, his total primary points are 67%. His even strength goals for percentage at 59.2. Primary points per 60 at 2.06. PPEV 31 over 88. And shot percentage at 14%. I really tried to find things that I didn't like about Mintyukov's game, and honestly, I just couldn't find much that I didn't like. I think he's really good in basically everything. I think he has a great mind. He takes fast decisions, and he seems to always take the best decision. Obviously, sometimes being offensively inclined, he will try things that won't work, but I mean, you want a guy that is that talented to try things and see what works and what doesn't, and then adapt his game to it. He's a good skater. He's very strong in the ice. He's a bull. He has good vision. He executes plays very quickly, and he also has the patience to wait for lanes to open and play to be created. He moves well defensively. He's not necessarily a big checker, but he will cut people at the end so he can separate them from the puck, which is really good. And he actually has a very good shot, especially his wrister. So overall, a very complete player defensively and offensively. So I think that number 8 is really good for him, and he has a very high ceiling. And at number 7, I have Hudson, who was picked 62nd overall in 2022. He's a left shot offensive defenseman who stands at 5'9", 158 pounds. He had the best draft plus 1 in the NCAA since the 1990s, and he had a season on par with a player like Brian Leetch in the 80s. So actual amazing production. 48 points and 15 goals in 39 games. Not much else to say. In terms of advanced stats, there's not much the NCAA provide. They are pretty horrible at providing stats. So total primary points of 68%, and I also have power play points over even strength points at 12 over 48 and 12% shot percentage. I decided to put Hudson over Pavel Mintyukov and Olen Zellweger because the offensive ceiling is just that much higher. Like, obviously he comes with problems defensively. It's not great. There's no way to put it. It's just not great. But offensively, he has another dimension that other players don't. He's unique in that way, in the way he can play offensively. But defensively, and even sometimes in transition, if you watch him, like he's dancing on his skate all the time and he's trying to create fakes with his eyes, his shoulder, his skates. He does that when he tries to transition the puck and evade pressure, and sometimes he gets caught. When there's pressure from four checkers, instead of doing the simple plays sometimes to get the puck out and break it out so the forwards can go and score, he just dances around and he gets caught. So that's something that I think he will need to work on. But I think that if he gets stronger in his leg, he gets faster, he gets more powerful, and he will be able to evade pressure better defensively than he does at this moment. But the thing is that he does the same thing offensively, and in the offensive zone, it does work really well. I cannot find a player that I can compare him to because he's so unique in the way that he plays. Like, I know a lot of people saying he's deceptive like Makar or like Quinn Hughes and stuff like that, but those two are elite skaters. He doesn't have that, but he's so light on his skate. Like, not powerful, not fast, but he's extremely light, and he's so deceptive and creates so many misdirection, like looking left, passing right, or just moving his feet in a way that make you think he's gonna pass and then he shoots or whatever. He's just so good at creating deception for a player. Nobody can know what he's doing with the puck when he has the puck on his hands. So yeah, I think the potential offensively is limitless for Lane Hudson. That is why, even though he's not an elite skater and that he's very short and light, I have him that high. All right. And at number 6, I have Brandt Clarke, who was picked 8th overall in 2021. He's a right shot offensive defenseman who stands at 6'2", 185 pounds. He had the second best draft plus 2 season in the OHL all time. So I don't know, what else do you want? He had 61 points and 23 goals in 31 games. That's almost 2 points per game for a defenseman. That's just crazy. His total primary points are 65.6%, even strength goals for percentage at 73.3%, primary points per 60 at 2.88, and power play point over even strength point 17 to over 61, and shot percentage at 13.5. When you watch Brandt Clarke play, you can see he's a very dominant offensive player. His offensive game is off the chart. He uses his teammate very well, just as much as he can create everything on his own. He's also very capable of using his teammate to create chances. He has a great wrister and he can find the lane very easily. He will move east-west on the blue lane, no problem, to just find a lane, the smallest of lane possible, to at least wrister the shot on the net. A lot of players sometimes will just shoot even though there's people blocking the shot in front of them. He will not do that. He will always try to find a lane. He isn't, like I was saying, he's not selfish as a player. He uses teammates all the time to create chances. Even though he's very productive, the goal is not to be necessarily productive. It's really to create chances, and he's an expert at it. He's a good stick handler. He's a great stick handler. His puck skills are really off the chart, and he's really good also at getting the puck from the outside to the middle of the ice. A bit like Olen Zellweger, where he circles the ice in the offensive zone, trying to create chaos and open lanes to the middle. He does the same thing going up and down the zone. Not necessarily circle the whole ice, but he will go up and down the zone to create chaos and wire the puck to the middle of the ice so somebody can shoot from the slot. Obviously, his skating was a problem on draft night, and it's still a problem. I don't think it's as bad as it used to be, but it's still not great. He has a very weird skating mechanic. I'm not an expert, so I don't know if it can be fixed or not, but I think it will be like something that it will drag on him for his career. But because of that, his defense will be affected. He's not that bad defensively, but I think it will be affected because of his skating, a bit like Lane Hudson will always be affected because of it. But he gives you so much offensively that, it kind of cancels out. All right, so yeah, there you go for Brandt Clarke, number 6 on the list. Amazing ceiling too. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know that at the beginning of the summer, I asked in a poll what you guys would like to see, and most of you said you would like a pool or a farm system ranking. I was gonna do that, but then there's just so much of it on the internet and on YouTube that I'm not sure what I would add to that. I would be making a lot of videos that doesn't bring any kind of value, so I thought it was maybe not a good idea to do it. So anyway, let me know if you enjoyed this kind of video where I rank players from every team that are prospect, not just the draft, but prospect around the NHL. Let me know if you like it. Other than that, hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Peace.